wrong side. Heavily. If I can make this work. Ooh, I know what to do. So, those of you who are catching this, you're like, what's going on here? I am in a hotel room, and I didn't bring all my resources that I would have to here we go. So again, I apologize. Good morning, good morning, good morning. That whole entire chaos. This is Uche Joku, Sneaker Principal. Welcome to the Sneaker Principal podcast. It is 4:27 in the morning. I'm here in Denver, Colorado, drinking some coffee. I'm going to try to squeeze in a workout in a few minutes before starting my day. I am in Denver for the Com Fellowship June Summit, June Study Summit. And some of you are like, what are you talking about? So those of you who know, I'm a high school principal in New York City, and I'm part of a fellowship that's done through Teachers College, Columbia University in New York. It's called the Com Fellowship, and it's for distinguished principals across the country. So I'm part of a slew of principals coming from some major cities in the country that we're doing a one-year fellowship, working on our craft, improving our leadership, and not only that, we're doing a year-long action research project. So as part of the fellowship, we've been meeting every couple of months in different cities, and we've done New York City, which is my home city. We've done Gettysburg in Pennsylvania, done Miami, and now we're in Denver. Listen, those of you who've never been to Denver, it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. Actually, I've always known about Denver just from reading about it and people who are from Denver, and just knowing it's a city that's very, how do I put it, modern in the sense of just the vibes you get here. So shout out to those from Denver. I love your city. I want to talk to you real quick about a session that we did yesterday. It was done by Dr. Brian Perkins, who is an amazing professor, was one of my professors when I was doing my master's in educational leadership at Teachers College through the Summer Principals Academy. And I get some of this coffee to soften my voice. I have this deep early morning voice right now. But the session you did was around Strength Finder is this test that you take that is has been created by Gallup. If anyone has who's ever done Gallup poll or used the Gallup poll, they do statistical assessments of different populations and looking into different data points, and I'm probably going to do injustice on this test. But that test gets you through 170 something questions to determine the way you think and those and identifies your key strengths. I think it's 34, 37 data points that it connects you to, but it ranks your top 5. And I don't have my notes in front of me. Oh, actually, I do have my notes. Then pull that up real quick. So I'm not over here talking mess. So the cool thing about Strength Finders is that you take this survey, and it takes a while. It's like I said, it's 170 something questions, and it ranks your strengths, within 4 categories, which is executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. And what happens is there's a slew of strengths, and they all fall under one of these categories. And after doing it, I got my results. And what was interesting about it is my results fell, I got my top 5 strengths. And I'm going to share them with you. First, I want to tell you of those 4 categories: executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. My top 5 strengths fell into 2 categories, which was interesting because I had nothing for executing and nothing for relationship building. which doesn't mean that I don't know how to execute, because clearly I know how to execute. I'm a school leader and I've been in leadership for a while and I've been successful at it. Relationship building. I'm not saying I don't have the relationships, but I have a slew of relationships, friends, colleagues that I've developed over the years, and strong bonds, right? Um, but just saying that my strengths are falling and under influencing and strategic thinking, which is actually interesting in itself. So I want to tell you what the five strengths are. The first one is futurist, futuristic. I'm sorry, futuristic. And the description that was given for that one that I thought was amazing and quite poignant is the ability to see over the horizon. And I've been told this. I tend to be so forward thinking, and I tend to see things before they happen, or I tend to anticipate things before they happen. Um, so being futuristic. Then the other one is being strategic. That was my number two strength. I see it. I see patterns. I see. Um, I have a sense of where we need to go, which is very helpful because as a leader, you always find yourself in situations um, where you have to make incredibly tough decisions. And if you can see the patterns of what's happening, if you can have a sense of what needs to happen and where direction you need to go to, even if you don't have a sense of that, but if you're able to bring the right people, not just bringing people who are the same, but people who have key strengths to they can help you, move in that direction or figure out what the problem is or figure out how to solve the problem. Be strategic in those senses and making the right choices, picking the right people. Um, that was my number two strength. Number three was one that was actually surprising. But then the more I thought about it, wasn't surprising. Was input. Input, or is a strength where constantly gathering information. Um, into a computer, you're putting stuff in the computer. I'm constantly putting stuff into myself, like putting stuff, storing stuff away. And people who are input, generally speaking, tend to be collectors of information. And somebody might say, "Well, you're a collector of sneakers, but the sneaker stuff is cool. There's other things too. I like, but I really love collecting information, like knowledge, like what's going on here, what's going on there." Um, and input was one that I was like, "How did I catch that?" And I'll share the story with you. I have a tendency of um, buying books. And even now it's audiobooks. If I see a book, an audiobook, I heard about something, I'll grab it. And I might not read it now, but eventually I will read it. Every book that I have, and which are probably in the hundreds right now, are all insane in some capacity, vital to have been vital to my past or will be vital to my future. So I collect information in that sense. But also I'm the kind of person, if I'm watching a movie, I'll hear something, I'll have to pause it to tap my phone to look it up. And and it's funny because somebody described last night's sessions that input people tend to be know-it-alls, and I had to bow my head in shame. And something that I'm working very hard on, not always having to have responses to things or say or volunteer information that people didn't even ask for. That's the thing that people who are strong in input do. Um, but those are also people that you want to have around because if you don't have the answer, they'll probably be able to help you find the answer and find which way to go to find that thing that you need. So that's input. Then competition was my number four. Competition is very interesting because in my mind, when I hear competition, I'm thinking, okay, I'm out like competing with everyone, or I have to win. But it says with the strength of competition, it's not about the win. It's about benchmarking yourself. And it's funny because I do that, um, especially in my work as a principal. I lead a school community. There are things that they need to happen, benchmarks that I need to hit. And what I will do is I will ask myself, which schools and which school leaders are doing that thing that I need to be better at? And I'll approach them and I'll try to learn from them. And then I will, you know, um, in my own head compete with them. Like, okay, they're here. How close can I get to where they're at? Their students are performing. Their ninth graders are performing at at the 60th percentile, 70th percentile, and I'm at the 40th. What do I need to do to get to that 60th or that 90th, whatever the case may be? And it's always, for me, it's always a good thing to have someone to measure what you're doing against, and not have it just be, um, and not just have it just be, um, you know, trying to figure things out on your own. Keeping it all theoretical. Like for me, I need something practical. I need something to fight for. And I'm sorry, a moving target is so much more fun than one that's stationary. So yeah, that's competition. The last one is self assurance, and this one is taking time for me to realize, and that has to do with confidence. Just the I am able to, the I will, the no matter what happens, even if I fail, it is not a indictment on who I am or what my abilities are. It just means that I need to keep pushing forward. So these are the kind of things. Um, these are my five areas of strength, and it's funny because they all connect to each other. You know, my being a futurist, being a visionary, being strategic, seeing things, and being able to think through them and come up with plans, action plans to get things done. Input, being able to tap into all that I've inputted, all the things I've collected to find answers, or knowing how to find the answers. Competition, not putting things into play and saying, okay, we've seen it, we put it together, and this is how we're moving forward. Then, of course, you have um, self assurance, the confidence to move forward and just get the thing done. So these are the things that these are the five strength of my top strengths through Strength Finders. And I think for those of you who are wondering, like, where do I find this? Um, let's see here. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I'm looking at um, Instagram, and I've been paused out due to poor connection. And I'm hoping YouTube stays okay. But if not, I can always re-record this later on. But if you're interested in searching out your strengths, you can go into Amazon or even Google and type in Strength Finder, and it's done through Gallup, and it's a book, or you can even download the code, and I think you pay a nominal amount of money for it, and then you take the test, and it gives you all this information, which is interesting because, trust me, when you take it, you ask yourself, how did it know? But then if you think through it, you realize the questions it's asking you after a while is a pattern of how you think, and that's what it comes down to. But but yeah, I just want to share that with you this morning as I'm drinking my coffee before I go to the gym, and I'm gonna try to put in a good workout. It is my 45th birthday today, June 11th, and I wish I was at home with the family, but I'm in Denver. Um, I look forward to getting back to New York, so I can see my little ones. And yeah, with that being said, be well, and we'll talk soon. All right, Uche and Joku Sneaker Principal. Peace.